Live with Dr. Carolyn Dean. Carolyn is amazing. She's a doctor, she's a naturopath, she's an herbalist, she's an acupuncturist. She's going to tell you exactly what she would do if she were in your shoes. I can't think of a person who has devoted more time to helping people's health than Dr. Carolyn Dean. She can make a huge difference as you listen to her words of wisdom. We know she's ahead of time because she is the doctor of the future. Welcome, Dr. Carolyn Dean. Yay!
Yay!
Here we go, Carolyn.
Heart. Oh, is this the first show of the year?
It's the first show of the year. Unless you're watching us 8 years from now, and then who knows what time it is. But when we're recording this is the very first show of 2026, and you are live with Dr. Carolyn Dean, who is the world's most extraordinary health doctor, natural doctor, and MD, as she says. When people ask, what kind of doctor are you? She says, I'm a good doctor. And she told me that before the show. I thought it was so great because she is a good doctor. She's a great doctor. And that's why we've come to rely on her for so much information, not just how to take care of our health, not just how to discern the value of supplements and not how to use them, not just to know about exercise and different strategies for your body, but also to cut through that's out in this world when it comes to health information and misinformation, and get down to the nitty-gritty of what your body actually requires and how you can maximize it so you can enjoy your health and your health freedom, so you don't get wrapped up in systems and bureaucracies that may not serve you. I'm Jenny Sanders. We're going to be with you tonight. Dr. Dean has so much to say, she said. I don't even know what it's all going to be like, but it's going to be amazing. And we're so glad you're here. Welcome back. And all of our regular listeners are piling in on the chat line. Welcome, everybody. Happy New Year.
Right. Happy New Year. Okay, here's my mini rant for the first show of 2026. So, Ginny, I think we have to make an announcement at the beginning of every podcast that we are real human beings and not AI. Because, yeah, I don't know what's AI and what's human anymore. When a podcaster is speaking in a flat monotone with no mistakes or interruptions, I think it's probably AI. And I can't watch cat or dog videos anymore because I think they're all AI. It's bizarre. So, folks, we are all real humans here. We are not AI.
That's right. Now, what should we do? Should we snort or something to demonstrate our uniqueness? You know, they say a computer will never be able to mimic the human tongue. So I think if we use our words and use our mouth movements to exaggerate our speaking or something like that, people will know we're not a computer. We're definitely not a computer. And we're too much fun to be a computer, right?
Yeah, I think so. And then, one-on-one, I got into this actually a few weeks ago on our morning walk, me and Julie, and I started going up to people and just sort of touching them and saying, I'm just trying to make sure you're human.
Oh my. How did they react to that? I would have been like, who's that lady?
No. Well, they know me, but yeah, people are really concerned that things are, what I say often about how crazy certain things are. It's like humans can't be doing these horrible things that are being done. They've got to be aliens or machines, or that's the way I justify some of the craziness. But I think we just have to, do our hearts, and it's not from a silly, Pollyanna la place. It's like being really detached but involved. And that it's kind of hard to do, but that's what you have to do to stay out of the crazy, but be able to observe the crazy.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Okay. All right. I like that. I like that.
I
Yeah.
have mini rant part 2.
Okay.
I'm starting a movement called Magnesium First. 'Cause
Oh, I like that.
Magnesium First, I see it all the time. People being seduced by some hyper marketing scheme. But I'll tell you that all these hyped up supplements don't take the place of magnesium. Most of these supplements are synthetic or non-organic herbs, and they'll take care of a symptom of magnesium or mineral deficiency, but they'll never act as cofactors in 800 enzyme processes or 80% of known metabolic functions. They can't make,
Good.
they can't make ATP energy. They can't make protein. They can't make DNA or RNA. They can't stabilize membranes. They can't conduct nerve transmission and muscle contraction. And magnesium does all those things and more. And in addition, magnesium helps modulate inflammatory processes and activate antioxidant defense systems, protecting cells from oxidative stress, reducing the risk of chronic disease. And this actually, the main function that we hear about all these heavily marketed supplements. Oh, it's a great antioxidant. Oh, it's this. But it doesn't do the half dozen things I mentioned. Yeah, so take your magnesium and don't be a magnesium denier.
Ah, very good. Don't be a magnesium denier. I like that. Well, and take enough magnesium, right?
Yeah, that's the trouble.
Yeah,
People are still just taking a quarter teaspoon and they're feeling okay, but you could feel awesome
that's right.
because so many of the symptoms that people come to us with, they are still magnesium deficiency symptoms or potassium deficiency or zinc deficiency. But if you take our little handful of different formulas, then you clear all those symptoms. And yeah, so that's enough for the mini rants. Uh,
Okay, very good. But everybody on here agrees with magnesium first. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
and
Oh,
next,
wait a minute. Here's a good one. Karen Hampton says we need a t-shirt that says magnesium first. So there. Oh my God. I probably shouldn't have said that, Karen, because next thing you know, Carolyn will be calling me and we will have magnesium first. So there t-shirts, believe me.
it's a good idea.
That's very cute. Okay, Carolyn.
Yeah, and on the back it would say Remag.
That's right.
Mm,
Remake, the one and only. The one
yeah,
and only
because
magnesium first. That's
yeah,
right.
all these things. I don't know if people have been following me or following what I'm saying on X, but I've been getting on there recently. I guess I've got some time on my hands. And there's a lot about magnesium, but I keep trying to tell people about Remag. So anytime you're on any of these forums or look at a podcast about magnesium, just get into the whatever comments and say something about Remag. We have to kind of create the onion of the layers of the onion about Remag to get it on people's brains.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great idea. I always do. I always do. Yeah.
Good.
But please absolutely join us. Okay, Carolyn, what's up? What's next?
Sugar-free kitchen, where I think this is our last. Every month, I think we're doing a different kind of focus and topic. So, the book of the week is Sugar-free Kitchen, and the blog is New Year's Resolution Reset: High Protein Breakfast to Ditch Sugar Cravings in 2026. Now, I talk a lot about intermittent fasting, and intermittent fasting for me is usually no breakfast. But I'll tell you, when I'm under stress or I've taken one of my falls or crashes into something, I need breakfast. So there's something about stress that means a person needs a protein to build, I guess, build up the resources to deal with the stress. So just to say that, because people say, wow, she intermittent fast. What's she talking about? High protein breakfast. This is where you have to bob and weave in your diet. It is just not one size fits all the time. So all I'm doing in this blog, and it's at drcarolyndean.com, is just talking about the protein that's necessary when you're under stress, that will take away your cravings for sugar, that will, as I say, reset. But I've also put in the information about the GLP-1 drugs that so many people are on. And just to give a nod to that and say, you're losing protein, so you have to be more conscious of eating protein. I mean, sometimes I'll have 4 scrambled eggs with a little feta cheese and a couple of cut up cherry tomatoes. And that lasts me for hours and hours and hours. I'm usually just eating 2 meals a day. But one of my quote meals is my tablespoon of psyllium seed powder. Yuck. Yeah, yuck. What else? So basically, in this blog, you'll see Barb's favorite protein shake. Barb is the nurse that I've known since my Manhattan days, and she organized the recipes in the sugar-free kitchen. And it's a protein shake made with our Restructure protein powder, unsweetened almond milk, and stevia. Optional add-ons are cinnamon, fiber, or healthy fats. I mean, some people put their MCT oils in, or just coconut oil, or put full coconut cream in as your liquid. They boost energy and stabilize your blood sugar. How I'm taking my Restructure now, that's my second meal of the day. I'll put in, and it's only about 4 tablespoons of my chocolate pudding, which is cacao, coconut cream, but a quarter of a banana and half an avocado. That sort of makes up a few tablespoons of this beautiful chocolate pudding. And then I'll put in some organic frozen cherries, but mix in a whole scoop of Restructure. And if I have other things like maybe a bit of cinnamon or whatever I have around, it's a way of putting your powders into something that's going to taste good. And another breakfast is almond flour pancakes with stevia syrup. And that's all. I mean, we're just giving a hint of the recipes so you can get the book. Where can you get the book now, Ginny?
Well, I'm so glad you asked that question, because actually Virginia Cross texted us right before the show, and that's our good friend Virginia, and she's been with us forever and ever.
Yeah.
And she said her husband Skip got the cookbook for a Christmas gift this year, and he made one of the very first recipes in it that he was inspired by, which was stuffed bell peppers. And he said they absolutely loved it. So, of course, the only place you can get the cookbook right now is on our website at rnareset.com. And you can also follow Dr. Dean's website over to rnareset.com and buy it there. So we're so happy that people are buying it, using it. They're loving it. We get testimonials all the time about how great the recipes are and how delicious the food is. So, yeah, please, please, please pick up a copy for yourself.
Yeah, I think we ran out of them over here in Maui. I don't know if you sent more over,
I
but
have. They're all over it. They wrote me right away. We're out of cookbooks. Hurry, hurry, send us some. They got sent out last week. So yeah, we sure did.
Oh,
Now, a couple things. You talked about the GLP-1 drug, and you were talking about Magnesium First. And Phyllis Holland said, or Phil Holland said, Oprah says that she has to take magnesium with her GLP-1 weight loss drug. I wonder what Dr. Dean would think of that.
well, what the GLP-1s are doing is they're killing your vagus nerve.
Yeah.
Killing it. And magnesium is very important for the vagus nerve. Now, I don't know if that's, her reason for taking it, but it could be that she's using it as a laxative, because when you're not eating that much, you can't get constipated if you're not doing fiber. That's the most likely thing. But yeah, anytime anyone is on any drug, they need more magnesium.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we should tell her about Remag, but it's a tricky position that we're in because we have the best magnesium on the planet, the most absorbable, the most heavy duty magnesium. And if we get overrun with people, it puts too much spotlight on us. So there's a really fine line. I mean, I guess partly it's, I went through this in Canada when I was on national TV up there talking about the dangers of sugar on CBC television. I guess it's Canadian Broadcasting Company television all across Canada. It was a Christmas show. And I've talked about this before. I was spooning out the 10 teaspoons of sugar in a can of Coke and 22 in a milkshake. And it was a Christmas show and there were kids in the audience and they were just aghast. And a sugar lobby group came after me. And my licensing body admonished me for saying bad things about sugar. So, when you're in the spotlight, you do draw attention to yourself. So, here I am hiding out in Maui, and Ginny's over there running everything, and we are making headway, trying to get people to take care of themselves and take our formulas, which are, as I say, the only ones on the planet that have this formulation, the stabilized mineral ions. So we depend on word of mouth, and
we just don't want Oprah to know. You got to tell everybody but Oprah, I think, is the message, right?
Because don't tell Oprah.
But for our purposes, we could talk about Oprah and what she might be doing with magnesium. I hope she's taking it for her heart. Because GLP-1 are just trashing people's hearts and also their vision and also their hair. So all magnesium applies across all lines when it comes to semaglutide, and anybody that you know that's using that should be using magnesium and our other formulas to protect themselves, just not Oprah. Okay. Don't tell her or anybody remotely famous, but tell all the wonderful other people that we love, that we want to come all the time and get whatever they need. Is that right?
Yeah. I know Eric Weinstein. I bumped into him at our farm store before Christmas. Couple months. Great big tall guy. So I looked up at him and I said, "Are you Eric Weinstein?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Prove it." Prove it. So,
okay, very good.
He introduced me to his family. We had a great time. And I didn't give him my book. I didn't give him a Remag. I mean, it's so interesting. You'd think I'd be promoting the heck out of it, but I'm wary of that sort of attention because we want to make sure, Anyway, for whosoever will.
That's right. But Oprah is not included in that number, and apparently neither is Eric Weinstein. No celebrity endorsements required. Okay. There you go. All right. Very good. Now, also, speaking of celebrity endorsements, though, this is a really big one. I just want everybody to know we will accept this celebrity endorsement. Super Dougie says the RNA drops are bringing back his original hair color. All right.
Oh,
We'll go with that, Super Dougie. We'll go with you for sure.
okay. Well, then let's continue with testimonials.
They're great.
Someone wrote into us and said about the Ozempic drugs, they're being positioned as needed for lifelong weight management. Being overweight is now a chronic medical condition. And she says, I know 2 people who took Ozempic because their doctor said they were diabetic, and both developed kidney problems. One was severe enough that she had to have a kidney transplant, and neither blame Ozempic, she said. And she said, I have another friend whose doctor wanted to prescribe Ozempic, and she didn't want it. She changed her diet drastically to lower her blood sugar. This helped a bit, but didn't lower her hemoglobin A1C. She was frustrated. I told her about Remag. She started taking it, and within 6 months, her hemoglobin A1C dropped dramatically. Her doctor was amazed and told her to keep doing whatever she was doing. And she's no longer even pre-diabetic. And she has never stopped taking Remag. My other 2 friends are not interested. Oh man. And that's the story, for whosoever will. And a customer submitted a review on RNA Reset, which you can all do. You can go to rnareset.com and submit your testimonials. It was for Flora Revive. Eugene said, I'm grateful to have access to this product, which helps me maintain an optimal situation regarding my gut health. I appreciate Dr. Dean talking about this product on her weekly podcast. I've been taking Flora Revive for several years now. And then a Mrs. B says, I'm a teacher, and right now I'm working as a substitute teacher in several districts. I'm around hundreds of junior high and high school kids every week. I take Pico Silver every day along with zinc and the other formulas, and I'm never sick. I think your products are a big part of my healthy immune system. So, how's that for awesomeness?
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I mean, that's exactly the way we want it to be, 100%. Absolutely. Now, Donna is asking, does Remag cross the blood-brain barrier like L-threonate to help amyloid plaques and brain disorders like white matter disease, which I've never even heard of. Have you, Carolyn? I'm sure you have. You're a doctor.
Yeah, I'm a doctor. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, the whole threonine thing was a bit of a hype. All magnesiums, to some extent, cross the blood-brain barrier, but Remag does it the best. I mean, I don't think we're going to do studies where we sacrifice little mice brains to prove it. But being a picometer size stabilized ion, it is going to go everywhere. So there.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, we press on.
I thought I had a lot more testimonials. Maybe I'll come across them, but that is so weird. But we're moving on to pros and cons of supplements, drugs, and research. And this is a little bit about the MAHA world, Make America Healthy Again. In a quiet but significant policy shift, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services announced it is retiring a long criticized system that paid doctors bonuses for administering childhood vaccinations. The change was communicated in December 30th letter to medical providers. I'm not an American doctor. I practice in Canada, but Ginny, did you know that they paid doctors to give childhood vaccinations?
No, nope. I didn't know anything about that.
Yep. Can you spell conflict of interest?
Right. Wow.
Okay, moving on. I find it hilarious that mitochondrial researchers have to admit that mitochondria are important for all aspects of health and disease, but there are no drugs that aid mitochondria. They don't even talk about supplements at the lab research level, but they have to talk about how diet and exercise and environmental toxins harm mitochondria, and the fix is a good diet and lots of exercise. Um, and which is true. You can double the number of mitochondria in your muscles with regular exercise routines. So then when they look at fatigue and inflammation, say, yeah, it's all about the mitochondria. There were a couple of specifically mitochondrial researchers who talked about fatigue and inflammation, but nothing was ever said about magnesium. They didn't even know how many mitochondria are in neurons. They were saying, yeah, there's so many mitochondria in brain neurons, like hundreds or maybe thousands. There are 2 million in each mitochondria. So it's just, it's kind of like mitochondria is the latest fad to talk about, and there's research money for it, obviously, but they don't know what they're doing. One very overweight mitochondria expert did have a list of nutrients that he said they're starting to study it to support mitochondria for the fatigue and inflammation. And basically, they're talking about antioxidants that deal with mitochondrial waste, not mitochondrial function, which is flat out magnesium. Magnesium is necessary in most of the steps in the Krebs cycle, and the end product is ATP, adenosine triphosphate -MG. Everybody agrees that that's what's happening, but they never talk about utilizing it in the Krebs cycle or to support mitochondria. Why? Because they think magnesium is a laxative, and there's no faithful blood test to find out a magnesium deficiency. And if you just do any search, it doesn't even have to be Grok on magnesium. It's crucial for mitochondrial health and function, plays a pivotal role in energy metabolism, essential in the electron transport chain, that's the Krebs cycle, essential for oxygen detoxification, ATP production, involved in phosphorylation processes and reactions, blah, 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 vital for muscle contraction and performance, supports mitochondrial energy production. We've said that. Critical for muscle function, especially in athletes and in muscle loss. It's important to stop muscle loss. Most people think it's a laxative and ignore it. So our mission in Magnesium First is to get people to value magnesium the way it should be, as necessary for 80% of known metabolic functions and 800 enzyme systems. But 80% of the population remains deficient. And yeah, a lot of people are talking about magnesium now, and a lot of them do talk about supplements. But as I said, ours is the premier non-laxative, highly absorbed magnesium. Okay, so that's enough of that. So Ginny, I think I'm at the articles. Where are we? Perfect timing. So,
Wow.
yeah. Oh, any questions?
I think we're doing good. Susan from Facebook definitely said big buck. Oh no, she's on YouTube. Sorry. She said big bucks, 5 to 6 figure bonuses. So apparently she had some experience in that world. And Susan,
I didn't understand that. What?
on the child vaccination bonuses that you talked about.
Uh-huh.
And then Susanna said RFK Jr. just slashed 6 vaccines from the recommended child vaccine list, equates to roughly 41 separate jabs. So they're making headway. They're doing things. Fergie says, what would you suggest to get rid of fluid retention due to congestive heart disease? What formulas do you have that might help?
Well, I think that's where you would go to our RNA drops, our RNA reset drops, because that does something on the cellular life force level, as well as our Remag and Pico Potassium. But we can't talk about drugs and diseases. But if I had heart failure, which I'll never have, I mean, vitamin C as well. We're not advocating Remag as the drug of choice, as the only drug for any and all conditions. It's part of the whole picture. If you can convince a person to do all our formulas, they each have a role in keeping cells healthy. I mean, the cells have to have a strong membrane, so that means the omega-3 fatty acids and the fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin D, E, and A, and those are all in our omega-3 algae, those 3 fat-soluble nutrients. So we put it together in such a way that taking each of our formulas, taking them all together, gives you the whole picture, which is what our study is all about here in Maui, which is slowly coming to an end. We're very excited about this little study we're doing. And yeah, people will say, oh, you're and I'm kind of prophesying how people are going to say, well, it's not a crossover placebo control and all the rest of it. Life is not a crossover placebo control. I mean, we are just looking at what happens in life when we put a dozen people on 6 of our formulas and see what happens to their blood over a 6-month period. I think it's awesome. It's what every doctor should be doing in their practice to prove what natural medicine can do for folks, and not just all the hype where someone, you'll see them, they'll go on and on about this nutrient, and then after a while, well, it's not worth, and then they pick up another nutrient, go on and on about that, because they don't have the staying power of their one nutrient that is doing, a percentage of what magnesium, for example, is doing. So anyway, where were we, Ginny?
Is Remite the same thing as electrolytes?
Yeah, Remite, along with doing your sea salted drinking water, Remite has 12 minerals that are the major main electrolytes.
And are there any supplements that you should avoid if you have histamine intolerance or hydrogen SIBO?
What kind of SIBO?
Hydrogen SIBO?
Well, SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, that I guess produces extra hydrogen. That's where you would definitely work on our yeast protocol, because SIBO is not just SIBO. SIBO is SIFO as well, small intestinal fungal overgrowth, and that's being ignored. And SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, is being treated with antibiotics, which creates SIFO. These silly fools. They're silly. So avoiding histamine, you need extra magnesium, you need extra vitamin C for histamine intolerance. That's how you treat it. And yeah, we don't have any histamine promoters at all.
Very good. Excellent. Okay, we press on.
Article time. Okay, this first one, hypoglossal nerve stimulation. And the subtitle is a high adherence alternative to CPAP. So CPAP is where you put an instrument on at night, you're like this, you've got this whole unit on your mouth to help you oxygenate. But what they say, most of sleep apnea is your tongue sort of lolling back in your throat. I think that's a magnesium deficiency. If your tongue muscles are that weak and they loll back into your throat, then you need magnesium. But anyway, so this hypoglossal nerve stimulation, listen to what's happening here. So sleep apnea, condition characterized by repeated pauses in breathing during sleep. These interruptions can occur due to the collapse of the throat soft tissues, leading to reduced airflow and oxygen levels in the brain and body. I've written about this. One article is on my website, the Dr. Carolyn Dean. It's called Sinusitis, Yeast Overgrowth, and Sleep Apnea. But instead of treating yeast overgrowth, the latest fix is wiring the hypoglossal nerve to control movement of the tongue. Okay, so the patient is given a general anesthetic, risk factor number 1, and an endoscope is placed in the mouth and down the throat, risk factor number 2. One incision is made under the jaw, risk factor 3, to reach the hypoglossal nerve. The other incision in the chest, risk factor 4, to place the sensing lead between the ribs. A small tunnel is created under the skin, risk factor 5, to connect the two incisions, and a Z pulse generator is placed in the chest incision. All wires are hooked up and the connection is tested. The incisions are closed and the patient is discharged the same day. Recovery may take a week. The device is turned on at bedtime with a remote control, and the patient can adjust the strength of the stimulation. This allows for stimulation to the nerve, that is to the tongue, that is timed with the breathing to move the tongue out of the way when sleeping at night. And it's for patients who are unable to tolerate the CPAP or an oral appliance made by a dentist. So the next sentence is very disturbing. They say, precision sleep medicine is here. It has arrived. And you don't have to settle for a one-size-fits-all approach anymore. I mean, how can hooking up your tongue to wiring not be a one-size-fits-all? So Ginny, I want to see your face about this hypoglossal nerve stimulation. Show me.
It's just another miracle of modern medicine, Carolyn. What can we say?
Wow. I don't know. We can say I don't know, but these people, I guess they're serious scientists. They want to make a difference. They want to help people, but that's so crazy. You know, there's overweight factors. There's like I said, the magnesium deficiency, magnesium, potassium. There's yeast overgrowth. There's all these things that can be affecting the tissues in your neck and making you choke on your tongue during sleep.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And they're scientists, you know, they're experimenters. I don't know they're healers.
Okay. Yeah, that truth. Yeah. So they're getting their money from grants when they can think up the most extreme thing to help people. They do want to help people, but then to justify it and said, precision sleep medicine is here. Oh my gosh. Okay, moving on. Unless there are questions.
Nope, I think well, I want to say Angela Shining is here. She's visiting in the United States, but she lives in Australia.
Oh.
And she usually watches our show, Australia time, in the morning, which is Tuesday. So everybody in Australia, hello. But she's here in the States, so she's watching at night. So she feels a little flummoxed with all that, but she's still happy to be here. So we're so grateful you tuned in. Thank you, Angela.
Welcome to America.
That's right.
Okay, next title, common medications can disrupt your gut health for years. So this is from Mercola's site, and he's talks about researchers finding that nearly 90% of 186 common medications affect gut composition, the microbes, and almost half left long-lasting microbial changes. Antibiotics cause the strongest and most persistent gut disruption, with measurable microbial shifts still evident 6 months after use and cumulative effects worsening with each additional treatment. Non-antibiotic drugs like benzodiazepines, beta blockers, glucocorticoids, protein pump inhibitors also alter microbial composition. Long-term medication use explained more variation in gut microbiome composition than current prescriptions. So yeah, I've said to people, if you've ever taken antibiotics, because usually it's a week long, 10 days, you've really disrupted your microbiome. The gut retains a biological memory of past pharmaceutical exposures. Restoring gut health starts by reducing unnecessary medications, avoiding vegetable oils, eating whole foods that help beneficial bacteria recover and rebuild balance over time. I think in there he said to use a lesser drug for this or that. And I don't really think you need drugs. My recommendation, of course, is Flora Revive and Pico Silver to help balance the overgrowth of yeast, which is usually what you kill off the good bacteria. Yeast will come in and they'll take over. So you really have to knock down the population of yeast in order for the bacteria to take hold again. You really can't do it in the face of yeast overgrowth. And the next article is dismantling the American research enterprise. And yeah, obviously this is what I'm doing every week, is when I talk about this research, this clown research. Well, Congress apparently continues to support science. I'm getting this off Medscape. I say Congress continues to support science because of big pharma lobbyists, of course. But this Medscape article says the executive branch has proposed significant reductions in funding for the NIH and NASA. NIH Director Jay Bhattacharya, MD, PhD, announced a new emphasis on geographic balance in funding decisions, suggesting an end to the scientific meritocracy that has been critical for the U.S. to lead in research. So they're trying to say there that Bhattacharya is saying, well, you can't have the researchers who have merit are no longer getting funded. I mean, that's just a generalization. Bhattacharya was the one who, gosh, what was it? There was a doctrine that he put forth around the COVID epidemic that other non-traditional methods could be used for treating COVID. The Barrington Declaration. You can look that up. And all of a sudden, he's the head of the NIH. And so the various universities are going to be screaming that they're not getting their money. But seriously, how has research worked out for us thus far? The article continues, the final decisions on research funding remain to be worked out. However, what is clear is that this government has effectively discarded its social contract with the scientific community. We are watching the dismantling of the American research enterprise. Now, that they would say those words speaks volumes. Reversing this catastrophic catastrophe requires a renewed commitment to the independence of scientific inquiry. Scientific inquiry isn't independent. They depend on research grants. They're not inventing things that make any money for the university that they can continue their own research. So what do I say about all this? In 2005, in Death by Modern Medicine, I reported on the former editor of the New England Journal of Medicine, Dr. Marcia Angel, or Angel, Angell, who struggled to bring the attention of the world to the problem of commercializing scientific research in her outgoing editorial in 2000 titled, "Is Academic Medicine for Sale?" So the commercialization, that's big pharma getting in there. They took over research funding, and I guess the university funding from the government, just kind of matches with the big pharma funding. So anyway, Angel called for stronger restrictions on researchers receiving drug company stocks and other financial incentives. She said that growing conflicts of interest are tainting science. She warned that when the boundaries between industry and academic medicine become as blurred as they are now, and this is back in 2000, 26 years ago, she says when there's this blurring, the business goals of industry influence the mission of medical schools in multiple ways. She did not discount the benefits of research, but said that a Faustian bargain now exists between medical schools and the pharmaceutical industry. So this is what the medical research establishment is fighting to retain, their Faustian bargain. So I'll stop here and see if there are questions, and see Ginny's smiling face.
Yes, I think the enterprise of research is really what it's about. And we've learned so much. I know you're going to write a commentary or book about it. And especially when, we even started with our research project with Remag, and it took us a whole year to get the legal papers changed around so that they would not end up owning our product in the process of doing the research. That's how enterprising they are. So, it's not cool, really, a lot of things. And these are the things that you get exposed to. And then, but like Carolyn said, you have to be detached, and you have to still be available to engage and not get jaded. Otherwise, you wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And we're not jaded. We're just kind of matter-of-factly saying, okay, everything isn't exactly as shiny and pretty as it appears. Now, one of the gals here on Facebook asked, how do you feel about taking phosphatidylcholine for brain health?
Well, phosphatidylcholine, it's, choline, a phosphorus choline combination. If you eat your eggs, you'll get your choline. If you eat your meat, there's a lot of phosphorus in meat. I mean, we make all these things in our own little human body. And when you take phosphatidylcholine, back in the day when I first saw it being promoted, they said, well, you can't take it by mouth. It gets metabolized too quickly. So you really have to do it intravenously. And then I think they put it in a liposomal. If the body is fighting it that much, what's happening when you're forcing these things? So that's the history of phosphatidylcholine. And it's all a marketing. Yeah, as you can tell, I have been there. I have seen the rise and fall of all these supplements. And that's why I've come where I've come with these handful of low potency, fully absorbed nutrients that your body is going to thrive on. So there.
Very good. Very good. So there. Very good. All right. Excellent. We've got some more time, Carolyn. So let's keep going.
Okie doke. The next article that Rachel will put up is exposure to sugar rationing in the first 1,000 days of life protects against chronic disease. So this was an interesting study done in the UK. They examined the impact of exposure to sugar restrictions. So during the war in London, there were sugar rations. They didn't get very much. So they they took their a UK biobank data of adults at a certain age, like let's say 40 years after they were born, if they were born during the sugar restriction days. And they found that early life rationing reduced type 2 diabetes risk, and it also reduced hypertension risk, delaying onset of diabetes by 4 years, delaying onset of hypertension by 2 years. I don't know how they get all these figures, but it really once again makes you look at sugar and what it's doing to the immune system. I I think a lot of the overuse of sugar is fighting against vitamin C, and then the vitamin C isn't able to protect us in all the many ways it does. So I thought that was an interesting study that came up. And the next one is natural Alzheimer's prevention gains steam. And this is just, it's out of the Alliance for Natural Health group, which you should all follow and sign their petitions. I think they're the only health freedom organization of any use. um, and it's a bit of a long article. I don't know that I'll go into it, but they're talking about measuring the risk factors for Alzheimer's. Um, Let me see if I can find it here. They've gotten a grant, and again, it's a UK based study. They say someone in the UK develops dementia every 65 seconds and every 3 seconds globally. So there's a need for effective prevention. Now, of course, I I don't get into these big studies. I just say, look, everybody, take your Remag and your omega 3s and your vitamin D3 and stop eating sugar and seed oils and all the rest of it. But there's a group called Food for the Brain. They've got a prestigious US grant. So they've got their money now, and hopefully they do something with it. Take that money and buy nutrients for people, for Pete's sakes. But they'll do this cognitive test that's online, and they'll get people to um, do blood testing. Actually, they'll do the fingerprint testing, which is what we have on our website, some fingerprint tests through Grassroots Health. And they're looking at omega-3 index. And okay, fine. Well, take your omega-3s, vitamin D. Yeah, take your vitamin D. They're looking for a homocysteine marker, which indicates a lack of B vitamins and Remag. And they're looking at hemoglobin A1C that looks at your sugar control. So cut back on your sugar, and a glutathione index, which is your master antioxidant. And we have precursor to glutathione in our Realign. So it's like we're treating the brain. Every time you take your nutrients, you're treating the brain. But they're looking, to develop these statistics for people to take a cognitive test and then do the blood testing. And it's much like Grassroots Health and their focus on vitamin D levels. They have a lot of people who've taken the vitamin D test and put it in their system so that they can develop statistics. So I mean, you see what I'm saying here, Ginny. It's like you can test, and I guess there's a research testing gene that these people have, but it's more like, let's get a couple $1 million grant, and then we'll just live high off the hog and do our study and think
Yep.
that we're helping the world. And I said, no, let's just make the nutrients available at a decent price or whatever, that people can take these nutrients. Because seriously, if they took those several billion millions of dollars put our products in these clinics, get people to take the products, their dementia would not occur or would recede, and they would have their results. And that's all I've ever said. Stop with all this testing and just do the treatment. I see it all over X as well. People talking about the theory of the ionization of plasma or whatever, which I'm interested in now. It's like plasma needs ions. Okay, I got the ions. Let's just do these mineral ions and stop with just talk. Can't stand it. I take action. That's what I do, Ginny.
That's very true. Dr. Dean is very action oriented. And believe me, I've got the whiplash to prove it. Whoop, 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 whoop. We're going one way, we're going another, and we're doing it. So absolutely. I want to just say, there we go. Super Dougie says, perfectly, what most of modern medicine offers is steroids, antibiotics, NSAIDs, and surgery. So there you go. There's the sum of our Professor Super Dougie tonight. And Bonnie's asking if you're going to write a book on German New Medicine, but I think you have given that expertise over to Danny Carroll, right?
Absolutely. I'm not in practice now to be able to get the patient stories on German New Medicine, although we're doing it every day. You talk to someone and they'll say they have a certain ache or pain, and you'll say, well, it could relate to this type of conflict. What's going on? I've done it enough on the podcast. So no, I'm not an expert in German New Medicine, although it's very common sense.
Right.
Yeah. I love what Danny Carroll is doing. So yeah, just follow. Is it Danny Carroll?
Yep.
At www.danny-carroll.com.
Yeah.
Very free books, free information. He's an amazing man. He's doing a lot of interviews now and is very helpful for people.
Yeah. Very, very good. Time to wrap up the show. Just want to remind everybody, right, Carolyn?
Woohoo!
Woohoo! We're at that time. What's up?
There was one more. No, it's a good topic for next week.
Okay. I want to remind everybody that you can find all of Dr. Carolyn Dean's content at drcarolyndean.com. And we have all kinds of new stuff being posted there all the time. So check back frequently, read the blogs, share the blogs, look at the content, make sure you're seeing all of her most recent interviews. She did take a little hiatus from doing interviews up until the beginning of this year, but she'll be right back on. She's working on all of her books, her white papers on mitochondria. She's got a book out on that's coming out on vitamin C. We've got lots going on, a detox book for sugar detox. So lots going on, but she's back on her interview. So again, just keep checking in at that website. RNAreset.com, of course, is our product website. That's where you find all of her formulas. And of course, Pico Pets. Don't forget your pets. PicoPets.com. It's our website and it's our products featured there, packaged for pet owners and with all kinds of support for pet owners as well. So we want to make sure. I have growing alarm at how many dogs are dying of heart attacks. Young dogs, 3.5, 4 years old. I don't know what it is. I think I have my own suspicions, but your dog should be on magnesium just like everybody else in your family. And, check their area for Wi-Fi and other toxic interference because the animals are being interfered with in this crazy world, just like everybody else. So be sure you've got your Remag for your pets and make sure that you've got everything that you need for your family. So thanks everybody for being with us. Carolyn, any final parting comments about the beginning of 2026?
Hearts for everybody. That's what I say.
Hearts for everybody. That's right.
Mhm.
Hearts for everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. And hearts to Melody Rose. Thank you, Melody, for being here. I think Melody told me she's only missed 4 shows in the entire time we've been doing this. So she's even more prolific than I am. I mean, she's amazing. So thank you so much. And the Maui violinist says, Dr. Dean is saving my life. Join the club. That's right. She's saving everybody's life.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I know who that is. Guys.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Bye, guys. See you next week.
Become a member of drcarolyndean.com and get access to all her leading edge of creation information, as well as archives, webinars, and other valuable media resources. Join Dr. Dean and Ginny Almighty same time again next week.